So, Tommy, welcome to THN's Road to Fright Fest. We're obviously here to talk about your film CognAItive. I have no idea if I'm butchering that pronunciation, so you can correct me. You can correct me in a minute.
I'm the person that decided to spell the word incorrectly to be interesting. So it's cognitive, but it is spelled CognAItive. So
There we
either
go.
way.
So we'll go with cognitive.
Yeah.
The film is, it's screening opening night at this year's Fright Fest. How are you feeling about both the selection and the forthcoming screening?
Super excited. I mean, the selection's a funny story. I moved to New York recently. I lived in LA for the past 25 years. And me and my wife were touring the Sleepy Hollow Cemetery, which is the Headless Horseman Cemetery. As the email came in from Fright Fest, I was in the middle of the Headless Horseman Cemetery, which felt so, apropos. Um, no, we were so excited. I'm so excited for Fright Fest. I mean, that's been on my list for years as far as, amazing genre festivals to be part of. Every person I talk to that's been in that festival or has gone is like, it is the funnest horror festival that's out there. So I'm going. Me and several of the cast and crew are going to be there. So I'm so excited to be part of it.
And for those that haven't done their homework, how have you been pitching cognitive to people?
Um, okay, yeah. So I mean, it's essentially in the simplistic terms, it's, what if ChatGPT came alive and murdered everybody in the office? That's a simple way to put it.
And this is your feature debut, and it's from a script that was written by your wife. What was it about her script and this story that made it, the perfect vessel for you to, branch out into features?
Yeah. So, she's written many features and we were sitting down and we really wanted to do a contained horror film together. Because I love the genre and, love independent filmmaking and contained horror is always, an easier thing to kind of get funding for. So we were exploring kind of different ideas of where we wanted to go with this horror film. And um, somewhere in those conversations, she brought up the fact that, and this is like in 2022, where like AI is just becoming a thing and people in our industry are talking about what's it going to do to us. So I just every day wouldn't shut up about it. Like I was debating it with people every day, the topic. I would talk her ear off about it. So she was overhearing about it and she was like, what if we explore, that as the subject for this film? And then, for me, for horror, the horror films that I'm drawn to are horror films that are somewhat based in reality, where the monster is something that could really exist and actually kill you. So there's an extra element of horror in that for you. Like this could actually happen to me. Um, so then I went down the road in development of being like, okay, what are the capabilities of AI right now? What ways could AI actually kill people in an office that's realistic? And then developed this story together. And then that's how we got cognitive.
Yeah, I mean, talking about, some of those deaths, because this is it's simultaneously a kind of a cautionary tale about, our usage of AI, but it's also kind of like a techno slasher. There are some ingenious kills that we won't spoil for anybody that obviously hasn't seen the film yet, but how much fun were they to kind of be on set for and to get to create?
I mean, to create, so fun. To be on set for, even more fun. To come up with, super difficult. I mean, that was one of the hardest things about this film was figuring out what things in an office could actually be deadly and kill people. And having to come up with creative ideas. I mean, at one point, we had a laser printer that was shooting lasers at people. Like we were going crazy, being like, what could we use to come to the kills that we actually came to? Which I loved. And, for me, doing things practical was always important because, being a child of 80s and 90s cinema, practical things are so much better to me. So, yeah, figuring out things too that we could do practically in that space was awesome.
And as a whole, the film kind of feels almost like a spiritual successor to a lot of cyberpunk films from, the 90s. So like Hackers, elements of maybe Lawnmower Man, even, maybe little bits and pieces from something like Johnny Mnemonic.
Yeah.
What were your influences and inspirations when creating this?
I mean, you nailed it. I mean, honestly, Hackers was a huge influence. Lawnmower Man. I mean, when I was pitching this movie around, my comps were Lawnmower Man meets Bodies, Bodies, Bodies. That was the comps I was using. Because in this business, you have to have comps, as much as I hate that. But yeah, those were the comps for it. And for me too, again, like I wanted to pay homage to 90s cinema. So you'll see a lot in this movie, besides there being tons of Easter eggs throughout the entire movie from 90s cinema that you can pick up in all different places. It was also like studying camera moves from the 90s and wanting to have it feel like a 90s movie. So mimicking those camera moves and the style of storytelling to really have it have this nostalgic sense of it being, a 90s, cyber slasher film.
And talking of Easter eggs, there is, the one that I have to commend you for using is there are snippets from Terminator 2, the arcade game, which is a game I think I played to death when I was younger. It's exactly the sort of Easter egg that I appreciate. Was there any particular reason, why you wanted to use footage from that particular game?
I mean, obviously, like we're paying homage to like the original killer AI movie. I mean, it's Terminator, like there's no other movie. But I will say that's actually not gameplay footage from that game. I made that footage myself to, there's copyright things. So it's not Terminator 2, although it may resemble it in some ways. But that is one Easter egg for sure.
Nice. And I guess, the other, the big component that, makes this film work is its cast. How did you kind of go around finding this? Because you've obviously got so many different personality types. You've got
Yeah.
kind of like your Elon Musk-esque sort of like tech billionaire that's just, forging ahead. And then you've got this kind of like uber cool, like hacker, reformed criminal type leading the crew. How did you get your cast together?
I mean, I was so lucky with this cast. Many different ways. So, like our lead, Piper Curda, who's incredible. The way I found her was we were struggling to find the lead for this movie for a while. And one night I was watching this movie called May December, which was on Netflix. And Piper had a small supporting role, but I saw one scene with her and I was like, holy shit, she is Kaya. Like she's everything I've been looking for. Her attitude, the way she carries herself, like she embodied how I saw this character. And I thought, I don't know if I could get her. And then we had a meeting together, like right before Christmas, and we just hit it off. And, she jumped on board, which was awesome. And then Noel Fisher, who is our villain, I'll say one of the villains. Similar. I mean, again, I was struggling to find who was going to play that character. We had a couple actors on board that wound up falling off, and then my casting director, he suggested Noel. And I was familiar with Noel from Shameless, and I loved his work. And then similarly, I had a meeting with Noel, and he was as into AI and tech as I was. And again, we just hit it off. And I mean, thank God, because I mean, what he brought to that character too, like embodying these Silicon Valley tech guys who really just use people. But like have this like such snake oil salesman, like make your skin crawl vibe. I mean, one of the things that he did that I loved was there's a moment where the character continually through the story uses hand sanitizer whenever he touches the common folk. And that was something like a little thing that Noel came up with, where he was like, I think that, he would do this. And I was like, I love it. And then similarly, Josh Zuckerman, incredible actor. He was in Oppenheimer. My line producer Cameron Fife was best friends with this guy, and we would just come off the strikes, and there wasn't a ton of work. And he mentioned him. I'm like, do you think Josh would do it? And then Josh read and sent in an audition tape, and in the first 5 seconds, I was like, he is perfect for this character. And then the rest fell together. Natasha, it was all friends. Natasha had done movies with Piper before, who plays Liza, and Piper was like, "Hey, I have this friend who I think would be incredible for this character," which he was, Natasha. And then Luke, who plays Jude, is a dear friend of mine for like 25 years. And when we were writing that character, I had him in mind for that. So, and then Ritesh is an actor that as an actor coming up through Hollywood, I'd worked with before. Similarly, when I was writing it, I was like, Ritesh would be perfect for this. So between friends and all those other moments, yeah, we pulled together this incredible cast of seasoned actors.
And I'm guessing on a lower budget indie production, that form a relationship, that trust between friends must really help in terms of, cutting through any sort of like red tape of, just hitting the floor running.
Yeah, I mean, that and also being a first-time feature director, for an actor who has a resume like these actors do to put their
Mm.
trust in me is not an easy thing to do. So, yeah, like having those personal relationships went so far, then being able to look at some of the other projects I had done, the short form things I had directed, and then just us being able to connect on such personal levels as people and knowing that, we vibed, did so much. Yeah, because, we don't have a lot of money, so you're not doing it for the money, you're doing it because you love the script and you believe in the project.
And the film opens kind of with this like almost like TED Talk parody, was that a lot of extensive research so that, when, the viewer sits down, they think that that is what they're watching.
Yes, exactly. So for us, ironically, when you're developing this story, this was, Sam Altman, who's the head of, OpenAI, ChatGPT. So this, we had finished writing the first draft, and as soon as we had finished it, the news broke essentially about this whole controversy with Sam Altman and him breaking all these rules and his like, executive structure trying to fire him because he was not caring about regulations and was just, breaking all the rules, not caring for anybody or anything, which had just mirrored what we had written. I mean, anybody could have seen that coming. Like you have a guy with this much power, with this much technology, shit's gonna go wrong, and it did. So we had a lot of stuff to pull from. I mean, like Sam Altman, a big inspiration, NVIDIA, head of NVIDIA, Elon Musk, all these people, and there had again, this was just when like AI was becoming such a huge talking point. I had all of this stuff to be able to pull from. And then yeah, like I already was pretty versed in it, and then even more so how to get into like researching it to be able to one present it in a way where people who don't understand AI and don't understand technology could still grasp what was happening, but in a way where the people who do understand tech aren't gonna, drag me through the mud on Reddit for being wrong about it. So that was a delicate balance, but I feel like we did it.
I'm married to a coder. So
Yeah.
it is always a point of like contention when it is a film that's technology based of am I going to spend like the next 3 months listening to him moan about
Yeah.
inaccuracies? So, thank you, for doing due diligence to, to save people like me from conversations like that.
Yeah, that was important to me. So yeah, I understand.
And I guess, in making the film, has it maybe made you reassess your relationship with technology at all?
It has, in an interesting way. Again, like it's still a big conversation, specifically in my industry, is like where is this industry going to go with AI? Um, I am a big pessimist when it comes to that. Like I definitely do feel like AI is going to disrupt our business and affect us very negatively. There are positives to it. James Cameron came out recently and talked about how, it's a game changer for independent filmmakers, which it is because it gives us the tools to be able to compete with these huge studio films where, we'd never be able to do that before. But at the same time, it does take away that element of, creative collaboration because like for me, like even like this movie has VFX in it, right? And I worked with these amazing VFX artists from Pretend. They were the guys that did Everything Everywhere All at Once. They kind of oversaw it. Their producer, Judy Craig, was a producer of my movie. So again, a good friend hook up there. And they kind of, supervised the VFX we were doing. But I was able to have conversations with my VFX artists and be like, I'm thinking this happens on this death and blah, blah, blah. And then they would be like, wait, but what if this happens? And then I'd build on that and we would be able to build on it and collaborate. Where with AI, it's just like I plug in what I want and it gives me that thing. And you lose that beautiful moment of collaboration where artists are able to come up and elevate each other. And that's going to be gone. So I hope that I'm wrong. And I hope that it doesn't affect the industry as much as I think it's going to. But I mean, I'd love to be wrong about this, but I am scared for it. I'm scared to see where the industry takes us. And yeah, and so I try to use it as little as possible because I don't want to create a dependency on this technology and then lose, my native creative abilities because of, essentially this fucking drug of AI.
I mean, again, I'm a kid that was raised on the Terminator, so I'm just leaving it all alone.
Yeah, good. Yeah, I mean, I'm super nice when I do use ChatGPT. I always say thank you
Yeah.
and I say please just in case, you know?
Yeah, I am very polite to our Google Assistant, you know. It's if she can't understand me, that's on me, you know. I will say it 50 times until she can understand me, you know. I am not going to rock the boat in any way, shape, or form.
Love it.
And I guess, you know, so my final question, obviously Fright Festers are trying to, you know, work out their schedules. Why do you hope that people take a chance on cognitive?
I mean, because one, I think they're going to have a really fun fucking time. I mean, to me, it's important to make movies that people like and are fun, you know, and at the same time be able to say something that's worth being said. And we worked really hard to achieve all of those things. You're going to see really fun deaths. You're going to have a lot of laughs. You're also going to be scared, and hopefully, you're going to leave the movie with a little bit of a changed viewpoint on, you know, technology and our dependency on it.
Nice. Well, best of luck with the film and the screening.
Thank you so much.